What's up, guys? So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the internet at all, but I quit. I quit. I hate the internet so much. It is literally the worst place on planet Earth. And I'm going to be laying out my grievances to you guys and tell you why I am quitting. Grievance number one: well adjusted, connected, successful people live in reality. You don't have your rich neighbor sitting on TikTok scrolling and posting videos of how to get your ex back. Okay, they don't do that. It doesn't exist. It's not real. And essentially, there's this really bad balance of sad, resentful, bitter people and actually successful people who could be good mentors to you and kind of tell you what you should be doing in life. The scale is completely tipped towards the sad, resentful, bitter people. And overall, it just makes the internet a really negative place, and you probably shouldn't spend a lot of time here, which is what I've been doing, which is why I quit. And then the second part of this is that people are really only trying to buy your time and attention. I mean, maybe that's what I'm doing with this video, maybe not. But when you're actually doing stuff in your life, you don't have any time or attention to be bought out by people on the internet. If you're actually busy with your life, these people can't use you as their product, essentially. And again, this ties back to what I just said. If you don't have any time or attention to be sold, well, you won't be on the internet. That's a pretty big thing. And then also, the internet, the old saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And that's essentially what the internet is. It's a place of comparison. Should I do this career? Should I do this? Should I be lifting weights this many days a week? Should I hop on steroids? Am I big enough? Am I good enough for my girlfriend or wife? Right? It's endless. When you're distracted with so many people saying, this is the way, this is how you should do it, this is what you should do with your life, this is the proper way of doing things, you're not going to know the proper way of doing things because there's so many damn ways of doing stuff. It's just going to completely distract your sense of purpose, and you're not really going to know what way to turn. It's going to make you completely unable to act on anything in life at all. Moving on to my second grievance. The internet is not a positive place. Oh my God, where do I begin? Not to use God's names in vain. God's name in vain. Well, I fucked that up. The first thing you see on the internet is race wars. And something else interesting about the internet, you only get the far extremes of either side in politics, by the way. So you got extreme right arguing with extreme left, which we'll get to that in a second. But race wars are pretty fun. What a perfect way to divide the people and make people hate each other based on how they were born, right? MLK tried to solve this, but it kind of didn't really last. People hate each other and they don't even know why. Oh, because you have a darker skin color. Or, oh, because you're white. I don't like you. You're privileged, right? Screw you. How is this supposed to promote unity and happiness amongst all the people? Another thing is gender wars. This was really popular back in 2016 when Trump was running for president, and it actually was pretty popular and when Trump was running again this last time. You can see right here, Trump administration wants to take away women's rights. Like, you get titles like this, and people are like, Donald Trump's going to take away my right to vote, my right to have a car, to go out in public. Like, people, they extrapolate this, and they just lie. It's insane. And you have people pushing misleading statistics like the wage gap, whatever, right? That's more of like a niche side, I suppose. But overall, you have men hating women and women hating men, right? Oh, I'd rather choose the bear, right? Like, you get stuff like this on the internet that just drives division between people, making the internet not a positive place. What did I tell you? The third part of this is doomsayers. There's people that are always saying that the world's over, right? The dating has been ruined by the internet, and all women are horrible, and men are this, and black people are this, and white people are this, and the world's ending, and you won't be able to get a job after you graduate. All college majors are useless. You can only major in comp sci or engineering if you want to have a successful life, right? All this stuff. The world's ending. Oh God, right? There's so many people that are saying this stuff because it gets people's attention and it sells, but none of this is based on science or statistics. If you have a finance degree, that doesn't mean you're going to be homeless. Finance is actually a great degree to have. Just because you're not a computer science major, or maybe because you're a computer science major, doesn't mean you're going to have a job or not have a job. That's just not how this works. False prophets are another interesting part of why the internet is not a positive place. I really don't like these people. False prophets sell you the way of living, but they themselves do not know the way of living. I actually met someone like this. They were probably the most mentally sick person I've ever met in my whole life. And they had an entire account dedicated to giving people advice and teaching people the way of doing things. It was horrible. And this is only one example. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people out there. I don't have statistics for this, but by no shadow of doubt in the mind, there are plenty more people like this out there. And false prophets come in many different forms. They could be giving you dating advice, even though they're single, have never had a long-term relationship, are not married, or like maybe they're divorced. They're giving you relationship advice. Like, you should not be the one to do that. The fifth component of this is that a lot of people on the internet are wrong. This closely ties into the false prophet. A lot of people just preach completely wrong stuff, and they use anecdotes to kind of abstract reality and make truth seem simple. And you're going to be fed the wrong stuff because it gets the most engagement, right? When you see an article that says Trump's going to take away all of your rights if you're a woman, okay, you're going to engage, you're going to comment. This is outrageous. Why would Donald Trump do this, right? That's what the algorithm shows you, which is why the internet is not a positive place. Closely tying in, once again, is that reality lies in nuance, if I can speak. God forbid you say, oh, it's not as far right or far left as it seems. The answer is actually in the middle. Like, yes, the Second Amendment is important, and it's also important that people don't die in schools, right? All this is important. You'll be demonized for saying that, oh, children should be dying in schools, right? There's no nuance allowed with argumentation on the internet. Doesn't exist. If you're half logical, you will be demonized, attacked, you'll be doxxed, you'll have people looking up your LinkedIn, finding out where you live, where you work, contacting your employer, trying to get you fired. Okay, this is why the internet is not a positive place. And overall, the internet is not a positive place because it pacifies those who live an unbalanced life. And this also kind of closely ties into brain rot culture and why it's a thing. Because if you're engaging in brain rot culture, well, you probably don't have a lot going on in your life. On to grievance number 3, like they did in the Declaration of Independence, however many years ago. The internet is generally not useful. God forbid I say this. People say, oh, the internet's great. It gives you access to all this science and all this research and all this content that can help you become a better person. And, you know, I think all that's great. But how do 99% of people use it? And how do you use it? How have I been using it? Trust me, I ain't reading no scientific papers on anything. Or I do, but like probably not as often as I should. The first reason the internet is generally not useful is because there's way too many distractions. You have social media, you have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. All of these have a Reels, you know, short form video content style sort of thing going on. Half the time the app opens up on these things, and all the videos that get pushed out are only pushed to you because people sat there and watched the whole damn thing, right? Odds are you're going to do the same thing too. These algorithms know you better than yourself. They tap into a primal part of you that looks at bright flashing colors and thinks, ah, yes, this is good. If there's not 30 sound effects within the first 10 seconds of a video, or if I'm not yelling at you while I'm making this video, you're not going to be interested in it. What a goddamn mess. And this is why the internet really isn't useful. The algorithms only push stuff that gets engagement, not necessarily what is informative or useful. The second part of this is that sitting online is not equal to gaining experience in life. Just because you sit there and watch YouTube videos on what investment banking is, what engineering is, what software engineering is, what nursing is, what being a doctor is like, you're not gaining experience. You might be a kid who says, oh wow, I really want to live in the city, and there's so many posts on YouTube saying, wow, the city life is amazing, there's so much opportunity, but then you can go to the city, and after 6 months, you want nothing more than to touch some grass and get the hell out of the city. So you can't substitute real life experience with stuff on the internet. This is why the internet is really not useful. There's thousands of videos of people saying, oh, this is my experience, this is what this is like, this is what you should do. But the truth is, the only way you really are going to learn anything at all is by experiencing it yourself. Unfortunately, every single person has different tastes and preferences and things they want to do in their life. Some people might want to go out to the clubs 5 nights a week. Other people want to have a cabin in Alaska, okay? You're not going to know which one you want until you kind of get a taste of both of them, and the internet isn't going to really be able to tell you what that is or what that's like. The third component of grievance number 3 of the internet not being useful is that social media, corn, and Nvidia all serve as psychological substances for a fulfilling life. Who would have known? That sense of achievement and getting better at something you so desperately seek is conveniently fulfilled by video games. That sense of love, connection, and intimacy you seek with other people. Well, corn substitutes for that. And you having no friends and being an absolute loser is substituted by social media. You get to see everyone else living a perfect life. You get to numb your limbic system and numb your loneliness away with reels while other people are living happy lives. It completely substitutes for you actually doing anything with your life that's beneficial to you at all. Overall, not useful at all. And then also, nothing in the past 1 to 2 years of my life has gotten me closer to where I want to be. At least in terms of what I've done on the internet. Nothing I've done on the internet has got me closer to my goals. Yeah, I've gotten wiser and it's taught me things. Of course it has. But I probably would have been infinitely better off allocating 1 week of my life to reading some books and doing some schoolwork instead of sitting on social media over the course of like a year. Books are a very dense source of information. I can't speak. Books have a lot of information. They're pretty useful. The internet is generally not so dense. My fourth grievance: the useful cases are too sparse to justify you even using social media, the internet in general. So the first part of this is that the internet is helpful. This idea, it's anecdotal at best. Some people experience some benefit from the internet. Maybe they find a YouTuber who it's really helpful to them and they learn a lot and it totally changes their life. Okay, great. But what about the 6-year-old kid watching brain rot on YouTube, and not developing fine motor skills and not developing the ability to help themselves and take care of themselves and mature properly, right? The 6-year-old developing brain does not need to be consuming tralalero, tralala, and bombardino crocodilo, okay? And even for, an 18, 19, 20-year-old, okay, your brain's still developing then. That's not what your brain needs to become the best version of you. And I suspect that the vast majority of people using the internet used it for entertainment. America is the largest consumer economy in the entire world, and we have the largest entertainment economy in the world, so it's no wonder that the internet's probably not being used to its best of ability here. And then another part of this is that useful/helpful content isn't promoted. You have to seek it out. Again, the algorithms only boost for engagement. They don't boost for content being genuinely helpful. Well, how does it determine if content's helpful? Well, if a lot of people engage with it and watch it the whole way, okay, that's how they determine it. And this content does really, really bad, generally speaking. Mr. Beast isn't a philosophy and teaching people how to do things YouTube channel. It's an entertainment channel. That's what's promoted, not useful, helpful content to you. And then the worst part of this being kind of the norm is that your brain gets used to useful and productive content being given to you on a gambling-like basis. You're basically spinning the slot machine every time you scroll for something useful or helpful or beneficial or funny for you to be seen by you. So it's this balance of losing and winning that makes you completely rely on a gambling mechanism for actually gaining knowledge about how the world works. So if you want to learn anything about the world, odds are you're gambling to learn stuff. You're not actually seeking it out. And then closely tied in, purposefully seeking out a book written by an expert in some field you're trying to learn about is infinitely more helpful than fucking scrolling for thousands of hours like an absolute idiot. And you'll learn a lot more. You'll be a lot more present. Right? Being present in the moment is so important because this is what you're going to regret when you're fucking 80 years old. You're going to wish you didn't spend so much time being zoned out on your fucking phone. Okay, you only got one chance at this shit. All right? You only got one chance. And if your phone makes you zone out, you're not actively engaged with anything you do on your phone. So you should throw that shit aside and sit down, relax, read a book, and enjoy the process of doing so. When you're sitting on your phone, scrolling and scrolling, you're not happy, you're not having fun, you're just distracting yourself. And ultimately, distracting yourself from life is probably one of the worst sins you can do. And then lastly, for grievance 4, fruits only come from your labor. Odds are you're not creating or selling a product online, which basically means you're just sitting there consuming. You're making other people rich, sitting there, wasting your fucking life away, consuming content. Every single view you put on a video, someone's getting paid for you sitting there and watching content. So essentially, you're working a full-time unpaid job, learning nothing, not gaining a skill, and not being productive whatsoever. That sounds like a horrible deal to me. I don't know about you. Now, to conclude this video, these are kind of my main points I want to drill in for myself and you, the viewer. 1. Resentful ideologies dominate. The I'm perfect, men are scum, women are evil, red pill, incels, evil dating advice, negative gym culture, racism, much more. These are all prominent ideologies on the internet. I could go into so much depth for each of these, but I don't want this video to be too long. Number 2. Logical fallacies is what logic is on the internet. People use anecdotes and every single logical fallacy ever is used in online debate, online discussion. There's nothing intellectual about the internet, and there's nothing honorable about the discussions that happen on there. And it's also a complete waste of time, by the way, to sit there and argue with people on the internet. Overall, bad for mental well-being, and it also just makes you a worse thinker in general because you're going to start using logical fallacies to justify things in your life, And all of a sudden, you're going to end up down a rabbit hole being in a position you didn't want to be because you falsely justified something that really shouldn't have been justified by using logical fallacies. Number 3, successful people don't use it, man. They're not scrolling, they're not gaming, they're not sitting there commenting on Reddit posts and arguing with people and calling people ugly and stupid. They're not the ones doing it. Everyone on the internet, or a lot of people on the internet, let me not use logical fallacies here. A lot of people on the internet are absolutely miserable, poor, stupid, and wasting their lives away. Rightfully so, I guess. Next, the 4th thing I want to end on. The internet poorly substitutes living a happy life. All right, we talked about this. Corn, it substitutes for having a relationship, wanting to go out and meet girls. The sex drive is the drive. And if you're numbing that with corn, you're not going to want to do anything at all. It's just a shitty substitute. Same for gaming. It substitutes for having a purpose and a sense of accomplishment. Gaming makes it easy. Okay, you have a rank. You have to do good and beat other people to move up the ranks. Right? You can do this in real life, but it's not in a game format. So it substitutes for that. Overall, you're just more poor when you spend a lot of time on the internet. And then lastly, last point of this video, the internet, for 99% of people, it doesn't develop you and bring you closer to success, discipline, wealth, and fulfillment. Ultimately, what makes you happy and fulfilled in life is action and having a still, calm state of mind. Let me not sound like a false prophet, but generally speaking, the more calm your mind is, the less you're thinking, the less abstract shit going on in your head, the more at peace you are, the happier you'll be. Okay. Oh, okay. You know what career you want. You have a simple routine in place. You're meeting new people and you're pushing yourself in the gym, and that is happiness, man. Not sitting on fucking TikTok for 8 hours a day, doing literally absolutely nothing, gooning, and wanting to die. Overall, that's basically it for the video. The internet sucks. I quit. So hopefully you learned something from this. Maybe you guys benefited from this. If you did, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think about this video if you made it this far. Comment, I made it to the end, and I'll be sure to pin the first comment that does that if anyone's watching. So that'll be all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.